Tom Rioch, promoting successful business experts, connecting people throughout the world from my podcast studio in Brazil. Joining us today from Reno, Nevada, Liz Steblay, founder and chief advocate of the Professional Independent Consultants of America, and author of the new book, Succeeding as a Solopreneur. So Liz, how should they use LinkedIn as their storefront window?
Well, Tom, I'm glad you asked me that question because I'm a passionate believer in the power of LinkedIn, particularly when you're self-employed. Mm-hmm. Now, if you're not on LinkedIn, you're missing a huge opportunity for people to find you. If you do a Google search on your own name, I guarantee you one of the top 3 results will be your LinkedIn profile.
Right. If not the first.
Yes, assuming you have a LinkedIn profile.
Oh, yeah, right.
But most solopreneurs are people who specialize in knowledge expertise, right? We're not creating physical products or widgets. Mm-hmm. We're selling executive coaching or independent consulting or financial planning. And so we don't have a physical product. And so the first place somebody's going to go to find out more about you, even if they do a Google search, they're going to go look at your LinkedIn profile.
Right.
So what do I mean by setting it up as a storefront window? Well, this is a critical piece, a shift in thinking when you're self-employed. Mm-hmm. You need to make your LinkedIn profile more about your client than about you. Mm. Now, that's counterintuitive because it's your personal profile, right? But they're coming to look at your profile to see if you're the person who can help them with whatever their situation is, whether that's solving a crisis or fixing a problem or harnessing an opportunity. Mm-hmm. So there's a way to create your LinkedIn profile to draw people into your store. So let me rephrase and use an analogy. So let's say that you were a retail store on Fifth Avenue in New York City, and you had 2 big plate glass windows. You would put your best merchandise on those mannequins in those windows to draw people into the store.
Right.
So think of LinkedIn the same way. When you create your summary about you, you need to flip it and make it more about your client. How do you help your client? Mm-hmm. What are the situations that you make a difference? What problems do you solve? Sometimes I've seen successful solopreneurs use a lead-in question like, if any of these things keep you up at night, we should at least have a conversation. And then they list 4 or 5 bullet points. That's how you draw people into your store. Nobody's going to hire a solopreneur without first having a conversation. So all of your marketing, your website, your LinkedIn profile needs to draw people into a conversation.
Yeah, to put you in front of the window, because that's exactly it. And which persons do you want to be in front of your window? I think that's another part, not only of LinkedIn, about all the searching mechanisms. They will take you and put you in front of a window. If you don't have the window, nobody comes. They're going to put anybody there. So it's the searchability, it's the findability.
Yes, you do need to be. You need to be clear on who is your ideal client. Mm-hmm. Yes, that's part of the research that goes into launching your solopreneur business, which is in my book, right? But the subtitle to the book is 6 Keys to Taking the Leap, Finding Clients and Building Wealth. Mm-hmm. So it takes you from soup to nuts, how to even step out on your own. And then how to identify your ideal client, how to pivot and make your LinkedIn profile, your storefront window. And then it goes on to how to build your website, how do you do business development, how do you expand your network, how do you figure out your pricing, and of course, how do you pay less tax and build more wealth? So all the stuff
that's global.
Are in the book.
That's global.
It is a global desire to be self-employed for sure and live the career of your dreams.
No, but to keep as much of the money and the value from what you do to yourself.
Yes, pay less tax. That's my favorite hashtag. Seriously, next to hashtag solopreneur success. Right. But pay less tax is one of my favorite hashtags.
But taking the leap always is a leap forward.
Yes, it depends though how well prepared you are when you do take the leap. Mm-hmm. What I mean by taking the leap is cutting the cord with your full-time job, right, and really stepping into being a self-employed professional. And there are things that you can do to make that leap more achievable and have a soft landing or hit the ground running, to use whatever analogy you want to use. Right. But there's ways, and it starts with your LinkedIn profile, Tom. If you start to position yourself as an expert in whatever it is that you're really good at and that the market needs, you can do that when you're still fully employed.
Right. No, and I think that's the key. And many people learn that too late. Start thinking about that while you're employed.
Yes.
And don't
100%.
wait for, the pink slip that says, no, you got to do something tomorrow morning and you're done. So I think that the preparation part of what are options, you need to think about options while you are employed. Or maybe leaving school. Even before you leave school, you're maybe studying to do something. What do I want to do? And so that's one of the good options today. And I think even more and more, and you know that better than I, that there are more solos today because it's just the way of life. Internet has brought us to being able to do that anywhere.
100%. You can't, there's no such thing as lifetime employment anymore, right? So you can be let go at any time. Everybody knows this. They used to say, so I'm a product of the last century, right? So I entered the workforce and at the end of the last century. And they always used to say, you need to update your resume once a year because you never know what's going to happen. Well, the same is true with your LinkedIn profile, right? You need to look at it at least once a year, ideally twice a year, or after every big project that you finish. If you're in consulting, you need to update it again. And now you need to pay more attention to your personal brand and making yourself memorable.
Right.
Because if you're not memorable, you won't pop into people's minds. They won't refer you when that situation comes up. And referrals are the lifeblood of solopreneurs.
Well, my suggestion to LinkedIn, I look every day and all day and during the day. And I'm just a believer, the more you mix the pot, the better it comes out at the end. And, and that's only LinkedIn. It's many of these sites. The more that LinkedIn sees that we're active, that we're doing something, posting or whatever, not only updating our information, but if you do something there every day, LinkedIn knows that.
Yes, it does know that. Even if you don't have to post your own content every day. I mean, that's a good rule of thumb to gain awareness, of course. But if you join particular groups, so where this goes back to knowing your ideal customer, and there are groups on LinkedIn for everything. For everything. So let's say you're into customer experience. You're a customer experience consultant. There's half dozen groups on LinkedIn that specialize in conversations related to enhancing the customer experience. You start commenting on other people's posts and do thoughtful things, not just, ooh, interesting, but you add nuggets of wisdom. You start to build a reputation within that pond of fish. Right. And that's another way that you can be active on LinkedIn without creating your own original content.
Yeah, and to that sense, you can keep your resume the same for the whole year. That's not the question. It's not about just the resume. It's about what you do on the platform.
Yes, you do need to be active. Another little thing that a lot of people miss is they used to call it rich media, but frankly, it's just any media. There's a way that you can add pops of color to your LinkedIn where it could be a white paper, it could be a link to a podcast, it could be a PowerPoint presentation, but you can add graphics to your LinkedIn profile and it works like a billboard.
It does. Recently, I've seen that. I've experienced that. LinkedIn is now allowing videos.
Yes, it's called featured content. Right. And Tom, your profile's got some really nice ones right up there top. And that's putting great merchandise in your storefront window right there.
Well, I tend to think of myself as, back to your Fifth Avenue in New York, what strikes me, not only in New York, but many places, the Christmas storefronts.
Oh, yes.
Right. And that's a whole science of what do you put in the storefront to get people to get in your store. And I take that to my LinkedIn and I change it and I have to put things that I feel are relevant to those I'm trying to reach. And again, I'm trying to entice the searching mechanisms to find me and offer that. But it has to be up front. You can't put the best way in the back shelf. It's got to be out there at eye level.
Exactly. And so when I look at people's LinkedIn profiles and they don't have, so obviously there's a whole chapter in the book on how to fine tune your LinkedIn profile as your storefront window. But another thing that people miss out on is they don't create a custom background that goes behind their picture. Right. You can get one for free on Canva practically. Right. And it's so easy. And here people are trying to set themselves apart from the crowd and be self-employed. I'm like, yeah, but you're still using that default ugly background.
It's like a storefront. It's back to what you said.
Yes, it's like having a naked mannequin in your window. You got to take advantage of every single opportunity.
Very good. Well, Liz, how can our listeners find you?
The easiest way is to go to the landing page for the book, which is 6keys.info, not 6keys.com because .com was too expensive. So 6keys.info, or the book is available on Amazon, of course, either as a book, an ebook, audiobook, almost any form that you want. And the title of the book, of course, is Succeeding as a Solopreneur, 6 Keys to Taking the Leap, Winning Clients, and Building Wealth.
Very good. Well, thanks for being here and sharing.
My pleasure.
And again, more information about Liz Steblay. It's Liz, the last name Steblay. You find her on LinkedIn and her own site, which is lizsteblay.com. And again, the book Succeeding as a Solopreneur on Amazon. Cafe Networking is brought to us by Focus Semi Market Intelligence, an agricultural market research specialist in Brazil. More information at focusmi.com. Talk to Tom, talk to the world. Thanks for listening. Till the next time here at Cafe and Networking Podcast.